When you meet the love of your life and the woman of your dreams, sometimes you just know. That's how it was for Jaimee and Lisa. They met years before, but when they reconnected, they knew that it was their destiny to spend forever together. Now they are parents to two beautiful children with another pair on the way. They're also entrepreneurs and the hosts of the podcast, The Two Mom Edit. They are busy and they are entertaining, and I promise you don't want to miss a second. Welcome to the Becoming Baby Ready podcast, your podcast for queer family planning. My name is Sam, and throughout this podcast, you'll hear me have conversations with professionals who work alongside people who want to start and grow their families, as well as parents of intentionally created families. Everyone I speak to identifies as being part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. This is your opportunity to learn answers to questions you didn't even know you had. Welcome, everyone. Today, I am happy to be sitting chatting with Lisa and Jaimee Rizzo, and I wanted to say welcome to the two of you. Please tell everyone who you are and about the members of your family.
Sure. Should I go? You can go first. Hey, everybody. I'm Jaimee. This is my wife, Lisa. And we have our own podcast called The Two Mom Edit. We have two kids that are almost 6 and almost 3, Carmela and Francesco. And we also have two babies on the way, identical twin girls, who will be here in the fall.
Oh, girls, that's going to be so much fun. And Francesco is going to be a busy brother, I bet.
Yeah, you know what he's going to be? He's going to be a good husband one day.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
going to know how to treat a lady.
That's right.
That's right. He's going to know what to do. For sure, for sure.
You don't know too much about all women.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. So tell me about how the two of you met. How did Lisa and Jaimee become Lisa and Jaimee?
Okay.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so a long time ago, back in 2008, I think it was 2008, I was on an MTV show called A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. I was on, I don't know if you remember it, but I was on season 2. I was like 24. I'm gonna be 41. That's how long ago it was. And it was really like the first time on
That's a long time.
I know. I hope I look a little bit the same, but it was really cool actually because it was the first time there was any type of queer anything on a major network like that. So it was a fun experience. I did the show. When the show was over, I was doing appearances in different clubs. And I went to this club in South Jersey and I knew Jaimee's cousin Lewis. And Lewis said, "Come here, let me have you take a picture with my cousin Jaimee." So we leaned in for a picture.
And I was like so young. It must have been earlier than 2008 because I was only like 16.
She was very young.
I was there with like my fake ID and like a gay, like it was like a gay night. Every Friday they had gay night. And it was
right.
I went there every week. And anyway, so then my cousin was like, "Oh, Lisa, this is Jaimee. Jaimee, this is Lisa." We took a picture together, like the first moment we ever met.
Love it.
And we still have it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because we were so young. And then we didn't see each other again for 5 years.
Yeah, about
at all.
5, 6
We
years.
knew who each other were because we had like people that knew each other and whichever, but didn't see each other at all. And then 5 years later, actually in June. So now it's been 13 years. 13
Yeah. So then we met in June and
at a pride
event. And I just knew that I just saw the girl in the yellow shirt. I was calling her the yellow shirt girl. I just felt a connection to her. I went home that night. I said I was going to marry the yellow shirt girl. We made out that night in an alleyway.
We've been together ever since.
And that's really the truth. And we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
So it'll be 13 years together. And then we got married May 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, we started dating in 2012, married in 2017, and then had our first kid in 2019. And we just keep moving.
You do. Lightning fast. Excellent. I love that though. You've been together ever since. You just knew. When you knew, you knew.
Yeah.
Just knew. Yeah, exactly. And this is our last round of children that we're going to be having. This will be 4 kids for us. So I think we're good, but we never say never because we just don't do that with anything in our lives.
We change our mind every day about everything. So.
Except we stay married, which is great.
There you go. Do you know what? You have to decide that every day some days. So,
every day we're like, what's our end goal? Stay together. Should I say this back to her? No, I'm going to bite my tongue here. Okay. Damn, what I say that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
I
was
get
so
it.
fun.
I get
Everything.
it.
And that's why we started our podcast too, because we're really sharing like the truth of like a relationship with kids and
Yeah.
pregnant and hormones and I'm PMSing, she's PMSing, life, and there's a lot that goes into it,
Yeah.
you know.
Sure.
So yeah, so we're blessed to share our story. So thank you for having us for sure.
Oh, I'm grateful that you're here. That's
Oh, us
fantastic.
too.
Yeah.
So life moved along and you got married in 2017 and you decided you were going to look at starting a family. Is that sort of when the conversation started, or had you known before you even got married that at some point family
We
was in the
definitely
picture?
knew before we even got engaged. We both have always talked about wanting a big family. I have three sisters. I have two stepsisters, two stepbrothers. So I'm always around a lot of people. She's one of three. Also always wanted a lot of siblings and kids around for our kids. So we always knew that we wanted to grow our family. I was ready to start as soon as we had got married. But for Lisa, it took a little bit longer. She wasn't quite ready. So it took a little bit of conversations every few months of when we were actually going to start the process. And then I think at some point we realized there's not really any right time to get pregnant. And I feel like I still stand that way.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, like even
Yeah.
getting pregnant now, it's like, okay, well, you try to time things out but like you make plans and God laughs, right? Like you never know how long it's going to take you to get pregnant. You're always going to be busy. You're always going to have some big event going on in the next, it's not 9 months of your life just being pregnant, a few months of a newborn, and then however long trying. So you really you have to just go for it. But
Yeah, my biggest concern, I have a business, so I was always like, am I going to be able to give as much to my business? And I'm just more of like a financial type of person, like think of finances. And then I couldn't think about it anymore, else I would have just kept pushing it off because it's easier to push off than to just tell yourself yes. So I said, you know what, Jaimee, let me just go get my eggs checked. And that was the first step. And I
yeah.
always recommend that to anyone because at least you're getting, information from a doctor, what's happening to your body. I
Mhm.
feel young, but I don't have as many eggs as I did years ago. And you're
Mhm.
just getting information. So that was helpful for me to at least get the ball
Yeah.
going in my
And
head.
I think that was just like an initial consultation. I think it was
That's it.
free, right? Or there was no charge
Yeah,
for that.
we didn't pay anything. It was a
And it was almost like
consultation.
an interview with the doctor too, because if you're
Mhm.
going to go into this big journey, we were very much prepared to meet with several doctors. It just so happened that the doctor that we met initially, I still love her just as much as the day I met her.
Yeah.
And she was amazing, and we felt no need to go to any other doctor and do any other consultations. But yeah, they checked both of us out. She sat us down in her office. She explained everything and a little bit about the process. And then she started with giving us the information on how we find a donor and some resources.
Mhm.
And then from there, I think
Oh, real quick with the doctor, I was a little bit nervous that sometimes you get people that it's clear that you're a different type of family and you feel that from the doctor or
Yeah.
that person or whoever. I wanted to make sure we weren't being spoken down to, number one, just as women, and then
Hmm.
as a two-mom family and as a different type of family. So we didn't feel that at all. We felt, if anything, she was giving so much to us. And that was important. I don't care how great her accolades were, how far she's come in her career. I wanted to feel
Mhm.
welcome
Yeah.
and safe and quote normal.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wanted to feel that. So
Yeah.
that
And we
was we were
definitely
blessed.
did.
Or else we would have went to other doctors until we felt that. Because
Yeah.
it's such an important journey.
Definitely.
And you're so vulnerable, right? You're going
So
to ask them to help
vulnerable.
you create your family. You're really vulnerable. You need to feel celebrated when you walk in that door.
Yeah, and safe and just encouraged
Mhm.
also and have a
Yeah.
positive light to her.
Yeah.
And that
And
was important.
to your point of like you want to feel celebrated, it's very different for us. Any woman like us, right? Couple going into fertility clinic, because to us, we're like, oh my gosh, we're ready to have a
Yeah,
baby.
we were
Whereas other
walking,
people are
we were so
going there.
excited walking in
Yeah.
all the time.
Other people like in the waiting room are like looking like so
Very upset.
devastated.
And we
But
get that now
now we
too.
get that because of how hard it was to get pregnant the second time. But
Yeah.
the first time, everything was so easy and everything worked immediately, which is such a blessing.
Yeah.
But I remember we both realized that like everybody else in the room, they've already been trying for a minimum of a year, right? And then who
There
knows
were no
how
other
long
families
after
like
that.
us in the waiting.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It was important to us to feel celebrated, and she really didn't she helped us feel that way. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
So we
Yeah.
started there and then I kind of pushed it off longer. And then I said, all right, I'm just going to do it. Okay. Like that.
Yeah, it took
I
it took
couldn't think
Lisa March,
anymore.
April, May, June, July, August, September. like 6 months almost.
6 months, and then she was still kind of asking me, and then I one day I said I can't think anymore, so I actually set up a video camera to surprise her when she walked in, and I said, I'm ready to have kids, let's go. So any advice is just
It only took you years. All right, let's go.
that wasn't too long, actually,
No, I
but
guess in hindsight, it's not that long.
just go for it if that's your end goal, and
Oh, so we didn't say. So we the way we had actually all of our kids, all four of our kids now, was reciprocal IVF.
Nice.
So I carried, you know what this means, but for other people that don't, I carried Lisa's eggs. Our plan,
embryo.
our
Oh yeah, egg, yeah.
Yeah.
and before we started this process, we had always planned to use both of our eggs. Lisa never wanted to carry, so I always planned to carry. But we decided that we wanted to do first her egg because she's 6 years older than me, then my egg, then her egg, then my egg, until we were done having kids, just kind of keep taking turns. However, again, you make plans and they don't work out as you wish, which is fine. I'm totally fine with this because my kids are amazing. But after Carmela, it just didn't work for me. And that's like a story for another day. I mean, maybe we'll touch on it at some point in this conversation, but it just didn't work out. And I didn't want to keep trying for it to work out because we had all these other beautiful embryos that we could have used. And if those didn't work out, I know that she made beautiful babies. And so that was the path that we both decided to go down.
Right.
I'm happy with that decision.
When you went in to have your eggs retrieved, how many eggs did you get?
13.
8 were mature.
8 were mature, and 8 fertilized. Then we
8 got
had
sent
to,
out for testing.
then we had to wait 5 days.
5 stayed till made it to day 5.
Then 5 made it to day 5. So everything is a waiting game.
It feels like so long ago. It's like you try to remember.
I remember. And then
how many
the
were
5
we did genetic testing.
Yeah, we paid for genetic testing, which I think is very important because you're already so in it.
Yeah.
Just pay I think we paid $1,500 just to see what was going on with the embryos, and then 2 came back. So thank God we did
Genetically
that.
normal.
So
Yeah.
2 came back genetically normal, a girl and a boy. That was my first round. And then we put the girl simply because of the grade. She was like the better embryo, so we just put that in Jaimee.
Yeah.
But we prepared Jaimee's body before with the shots and all of that to get you ready to.
I think even from this time, it was like a 2-month process to prep for the frozen embryo transfer.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, more learning, more waiting, seeing how she's doing.
Everything takes so long, right?
All of a sudden somebody's telling you to stab your wife with a needle, and that I never got comfortable with it, even till 2 weeks ago was our last progesterone shot. It's
even more than
it's
that
a
now.
needle
That
this
went
big
fast.
for those that don't know, and you're
Yeah.
it's very and then as 2 women too, your hormones, a lot of hormones going on. People don't talk about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And you're taking turns with your hormones, right? Because if you're getting ready to have eggs harvested, you're doing all the shots for the eggs harvesting, and that's a lot of hormones. And then you flip sides, and then
and there's been
Yeah.
times, not that time, but after Carmela, when we were doing all these different stuff for the next rounds, there was a time where she was prepping for an embryo transfer, and I had already started. I mean, she was prepping for a retrieval, and I had already started the process for a transfer. So we were doing all stuff at the same time. So that's fun.
So we made it out.
But even now,
still
right? Like
together.
I'm moody, and if she PMSs, it's the same thing.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you decide, or how did you decide in terms of who was going to provide the donor sperm for you? Was it someone you knew? Did you use a bank? And then how did you decide? If you're doing reciprocal IVF, did you try to get a donor that was more like the other?
Right. So
Good question.
So we first signed up, and we didn't have anybody to go to. None of our friends had done this before. So we logged into Fairfax, Virginia,
Cryobank. Yeah.
and we did our first search, and we're all excited, and then that excitement slowly started to dwindle as you can't make a child together. This. I mean, but then when you're actually starting to really kind of interview somebody to be that missing piece to build your family, that's when it really hit both of us. And we actually were sad. We were like, you know it, but then when you realize you're introducing this, donor sperm, like, I wish I could make a child with you. And then you actually grieve that for a little bit. So
Yeah.
and it's
And you
crazy.
have to let yourself grieve that piece too.
Mhm,
Yeah,
right.
because people would be like, well, you're gay. You can't make kids together. Like be the thought, but we didn't feel that ever. And so we did. So going on, that's when it hit us. And then as far as what we were looking for, it was important for us, honestly. We wanted to have an adult photo. The only reason is because it's a funny story. Jaimee fell in love with this one baby photo of this potential
Well, let's go back first. So when you're looking
And then-
at when you're like in the don't when you're looking at the cryobank, it's almost like online dating times like 8,000, right? Because they just have
This is when we were in the
all
excited
this
phase.
information about all these people. So before we looked at any of their history, we would start with photos. Like, right, we would look at their baby pictures first, and then if it was one that we were
We
like
wanted a
drawn to,
resemblance too.
yeah, like we wanted like light eyes and dark hair.
Yes.
Like, and to your point, you said because we were doing reciprocal, did we want that? Yeah, we did want something with light eyes so they would look kind of like my kids. But we
Mhm.
also then wanted to make sure we bought enough sperm that we could use it for building our entire family,
Right.
which worked out, which we're happy about.
Right.
So then we started with photo, which photo we felt drawn to, and then if it was one we liked, then we would start to read the history. Okay. Well,
Which I recommend so that you're not reading every single profile and like
too much. It's so much information. I mean, we should look at our donors' information again. I always like to visit it every few years.
I know I have the card upstairs.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have everything on a flash drive. So there was this one time. This sounds so vain, but you know what? It's the truth. So I'm just gonna
That's
tell
your
you.
truth. Who
So we looked
cares?
at the baby photo and then we clicked the adult photo. This one, some of them happened to have adult photos available, and we were like, oh gosh, that's not what I expected. And I was like, I don't want that. No, that doesn't, no, it's not it at all.
The baby photo was so cute.
So then like from there, we were like, oh, well, this kind of makes
It's
us feel like I
terrible.
only want one that I could see the result photo. That's it. And I'm not saying it like, oh my God, it has to be like a model looking
No, but
guy,
I
but
think a lot of
I
people
wanted
can
to
relate.
resemble our features, and the
Sure.
baby it looked like it could have resembled our family, and the adult photo didn't. So
Right.
that was important to us. But that takes like this, I don't know how much are available right now when you look on those sites, but around our time there was maybe
So there were like 500.
maybe like 500.
You
Then
click
then
adult
you put
photo.
light eyes and dark hair, and it's like
12.
200.
Yeah.
Then you put adult photo, and it was like 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So we went through that experience. There was a couple that we felt like
only having 50 ahead of time.
we were kind of
Right.
talking ourselves into some donors. And then we just shut the computer that night and we said, screw this. We need to pause. And we both agreed to pause. And then we signed up for California Cryobank. And that, I don't know, we felt a little more connected to what we were seeing there at least. And then again, we went through just another couple of days. We said, screw this, let's pause again. We didn't see anything. Then we made a promise to each other, let's give it a break. Just make a promise to each other not to log on without each other. You can't look without each
Yeah,
other.
because this was like something we always did at night together.
Right. With the glass of wine sitting on
There you go. While you still can.
Yeah. Right. Then one day I was up in my office and I said, something's telling me I just want to do a little peek on there. Something's telling me to log in. So I logged in and it said new adult photo and I clicked the picture and he was born the year my dad died. He looked like could be Jaimee's cousin. There were things that stood out and I didn't even have to read much. The health was beautiful and all that. We later really went hard with it, but
Yeah,
initially
before I made that decision.
it was just a feeling. As crazy. It was just a feeling. This is the guy that's gonna help
us
build
build our
our
family.
family.
Yeah.
And then I called Jaimee and I was like, Jaimee,
I was so mad. I was
She
so
was
mad. And then I was like on my phone talking to her and I'm at work. So I'm like pulling out my computer. I'm like, why did you gotta go? And as I'm like logging in, yelling at her on the phone. And then as soon as I like pulled it up, I was like, oh.
She's quiet.
And
Yeah.
I felt the same thing. And then I was like, all right, you're not in trouble because I'm just as happy.
Then we thought, what do we do next?
Yeah. Then we, of course, went through the whole history and everything. And there was enough available to help us. I think we bought like 5 vials. which I just
They were the
learned.
last four
I
vials.
just learned how much, was it 4 or 5?
There
4?
were four. We called and there were four.
I just learned how much that price has significantly gone up. We have friends that just started the baby building, family building process, and I think we paid
$700 a
$700 a
vial.
vial.
And I think it's
They told us it was like 1,500 a vial now.
I was gonna say it's at least doubled since COVID. Yep.
wow.
That
Ours
is,
was 700
it's
a
crazy because you
vial.
have to buy a lot.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't getting paid anywhere near a reasonable portion of that
Yeah.
for his
Right.
time.
I was
Right.
shocked when they said that.
And one thing about him too, though, it did say the donor, it says the donor will not be, there will be
Available.
no more available.
Doesn't
So he
plan to
wasn't going to do it again.
Doesn't plan to redonate, yeah.
Which kind of I've also liked that a little because I kind of struggled to be honest with how many siblings she would have out there, and I would prefer like a cap on
Mhm.
that. So that connected with me
And even
also.
though you
And
really
it just
can't put a cap on it still, right? Like
I
we did
still
find out there is like a good amount of siblings. Half,
Okay.
I don't even know what it's considered.
yeah.
But
Diblings is what many people call them. Donor siblings, diblings.
oh, dibling.
Siblings.
Okay, yeah.
I love that. And that was also hard to when you hear,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because you're
So
creating your family for you.
Yeah.
And
right.
so you see your family as this insular unit, and then you realize that genetically your children are connected to other people
Yes,
that aren't
exactly.
being parented the same way, aren't you don't know if they're queer friendly or queer respectful, right? Like you don't
Right.
know
And it's
any
not
of those.
necessarily for a queer
For
family.
family.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was a whole nother experience when we found that out.
yeah,
We found it out through a Facebook group. So yeah, that
yeah,
was a lot that comes with it all. A lot of feelings.
But I was going out of my way to look. I was just curious.
mhm.
Yeah,
And a lot of people do. A lot of people do.
yeah,
They want to know what they can know. Because at the end of the day, if you have the information, you're at least armed with the information to make a decision, right?
right,
Yeah.
right.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Is it an open ID donor? Is the donor open to
No.
meeting?
No. And the
Okay.
thing is, I realize like everybody has their own preference, right? There's not
Hmm.
one right way or one wrong way, like, and you have to be truthful with what you want, without fear of like, is this okay that I don't want this? Is this okay that I do want this? And
Yeah.
what worked for our family, we were both in a line with, and it worked with that donor. And we bought the last four vials, I think they were. And then that's how we started building our family there. And we
Mhm.
still continue to just make sure we're on the same page with like what works because all these new things come up. Like
Yeah,
when we
sure.
found the Facebook group, she found it first. And you were a little excited at first.
Yeah, because I was looking
She
for a long
was,
time.
you
Because
were bubbling
like
and jumping around. I was
what
having a heart
I think
attack.
Carmela was probably like 6 months, and every like once a month I would just search the donor number, blah blah
It
blah.
was around Easter during COVID.
It was during COVID, yeah.
And she's like,
And every month I would just
no.
search it and nothing would come up. And then one time I searched it and a group came up and I was like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. So
Oh my God.
now we have to navigate that as the kids get older. So we got to start having those conversations and whatnot too.
That's the other thing. It's like when they want to ask these questions, when they get older one day, we'll have answers for them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, your children know or will know that they're donor conceived. That there's no getting around that. As soon as
Right.
they take a health class, even if you haven't told them, as soon as they take a health class, they're like, I'm pretty sure neither one of my moms is
Right.
providing sperm for the egg.
Right.
So,
I
you
know I'm
know,
also holding on to her innocence
Yeah.
just
I mean, yeah,
as
right.
long as possible because I think
100%.
once it's there, and then it's there. It's like innocence with any type of
Yeah.
child when they're exposed to seeing a cigarette being smoked or what sex is or this. You just want to hold that baby as long as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, but for now, because right, like we have babies in our belly now, and she certainly has been like, but how did they get in there? And my answer of God put them there was good enough for her right now. So it's
Yeah.
gonna stay like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it will come in time as her questions as she gets older and understands the human body more, she'll ask more questions and
Right.
you'll
And
meet her.
I think it's closer than we think, but that's
Yeah.
okay. We'll be living in La La Land for a few more years. So conversation. Not that it's a bad conversation to have.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
you
just
you want
next
to
chapter. It's
yeah,
the reality of the
you
next
want to make sure
chapter.
you're saying it so right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It does. It does feel like a lot of pressure. And I don't think that you are unique in in wanting to have your family be your family without feeling like there might be an inclusion or a response or an inappropriate stepping in from the donor or from dibling families or whatever. I think that that's pretty normal. I even look at my wife, and when my wife was on her journey to create my stepdaughter, she wanted someone that didn't want to be a part of our child's life and that she wanted to be the only parent. And I think that that's part of it too, right? When we think about there being somebody else outside the dynamic of our family unit, we worry that they're going to try and step in somehow and tell us that we're doing things differently than we
Yeah.
should be doing it. And our family is the only family that matters, and your
Yeah,
opinion doesn't.
we never
Exactly.
had any, we've always been on the same page with that. We've both
Yeah.
never wanted an open donor.
Yeah.
And some people do meet up. I know some
Yeah.
people meet up, and that is what
You mean
works
with the
for them.
dibblings? Yeah,
And
they
that's
do.
beautiful. It's just
Yeah, for us, it's, we're not there right now. Maybe our opinion will change on that in the future.
Sure.
Maybe we'll have a desire. Maybe Carmela will want to do it. We
Yeah.
always say Carmela because she's the oldest. So
right.
Right.
maybe she'll want to do that one day. And I don't know, we'll have to have that conversation. I'm sure we'll support whatever she wants. But
Yeah.
for now, we're just not
This
there
is where
yet.
we are,
We only
right?
want to worry about
Yeah.
building a
Yeah.
family and not really seeing what's outside of it.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the case with my wife, our daughter's never asked to meet or know more about, just knows that she's donor conceived and no questions, no.
The good thing is too that I know there's books out there too for
Hmm.
donor conceived children, and again, for us, it is that, and just queer families, you do have to be prepared. It is the extra work, it is the extra effort, it is the extra something. And even like other family, like single moms as well,
Hmm.
it's just that little bit of extra. So as long as I think we know we're prepared, and we want to put in the work. One
Hmm.
thing about us is like we know everything. We're always putting in that work. So I think we'll be on a strong journey as long as we're together. But it's not going to be easy. It's not easy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always worth it.
100%. Yeah.
I
And then,
I love being a mom. I love having kids. It's the best thing. At one point I remember when I was younger, I'm like, I'm gay. I'm not gonna have kids. I can't have kids. My aunt's gay. She's 65, 60. She never had kids. It was only my uncle I never saw. So I just assumed.
mhm,
Now that we're doing what our dream is always and living to our true core and who we are,
Mm-hmm.
that's like, oh, it's so we see the other side of it now. So
Mm-hmm.
try to be that inspiration to people out there
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
considering.
Hold on for just a moment. We'll be right back. You know you want to start a family, but you're really not sure where to start, what questions to ask, who is your best person to connect with. Well, I would say that the best person to connect with is Sam from babyREADY. We have connections and resources, answers to questions, and we have been helping support families for over 25 years. So when you are looking to start the process of creating the family of your dreams, look no further than babyREADY. You can learn more about the services we offer and the places you can meet us in person at www.babyready.info. But it's a pretty common feeling with the queer community is that they had to kind of get to a point that the queer parents now, for many of them, had to get to a point where they kind of were like, oh, okay, so it is possible because, as a kid, you're growing up and people tell you that you'll be a parent someday. You'll know when you have kids. You'll know when you have kids. And then you come out to yourself, whether you've come out to other people or not, and that narrative in your head starts to change. Oh, but I'm gay, so I guess I won't be a parent. And then you come to the realization that you can be.
Right.
It's a whole back
Especially
and
like,
forth.
yeah, like my age and like I said, I'll be 41. So times were also very different when I was 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And even for you too, Jamie will be 35. So it wasn't how
Getting
it
up to
is
your
now, even you like using the word queer and getting used to like this
Mm.
new
Yeah, the different
world, like
terminology and all that, things are different. You're
things are
right.
different, but it's beautiful because it's just more inclusivity. It's just
Mhm.
more, spoken about more on social media but it's just that constant like
Yeah.
that awareness and, you know,
Yeah, and you want to be sensitive to the rest of the community, just like you expect them to be sensitive to you.
but things are always changing at the same time. So I try to at least put an effort to always make sure like we're still cool and we're still like learning
Staying up
it.
with the trends, yeah.
You're so hip.
It's
Like,
so true though. You have to make sure, yeah, you keep up with
just like,
everything.
yeah, we
All the
got it,
changes and things.
You do. You totally
Yeah.
do. You totally do. I got years, I got more than a decade on both y'all. So
Yeah, oh, that's good. We don't age. Our community, we don't age, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So were you successful conceiving Carmela with that first transfer?
Yes, we were.
Wow.
I'm willing. It was such a blessing. But yeah, Lisa she made the two embryos. We transferred the one. The only hiccup I think was that which is not really a hiccup at all. The transfer got pushed back like a few weeks because like my hormones like kept dropping and they had to get it up. And besides that
That was
though,
the only slight concern.
like that's it. And yeah, and it worked. And I took a home test like 4 days postpartum and saw a slight little line and then but right from the very beginning, all my numbers are good. It was a beautiful pregnancy.
Nice.
After that, however,
Was
it was
hard.
it was different. We had a different experience. So I'll tell you a little bit about that if you want.
Yes.
So I think I mentioned before, like we always had planned to do Lisa's egg, my egg, Lisa's egg, my egg until we were done having kids. So because we were going to use my egg, we didn't have to do IVF. We could just do IUI.
Right.
The problem, which apparently wasn't going to be a problem, was that after I stopped having Carmela, this is a little TMI, but I was always completely regular with my cycle. And then I pumped or nursed for Carmela for about 9 months. Once I stopped, my cycle never returned.
Oh.
To this day, 6 years later, 7 years if you include the pregnancy, I have not had my cycle. So we
Oh,
were kind
body
of like a
change.
little concerned. You know what? At some point, COVID started to happen. And so right after I stopped, no, I started to wean right at the beginning of COVID. Then for those first few months, I was like, oh, well, this isn't really a concern. Then at some point I went to one of my doctors, but my midwife had left the practice at that point. So I saw like the EP and she's like, she gave me some progesterone and said, this will kickstart it. It didn't. And then at some point, after a few months, I was like, well, we're going to try to have another kid soon. I trust Dr. Burin, that's our doctor. Anyway, like she'll tell me what to do. So then we just waited until we went there. She's like, we couldn't figure out why I stopped getting it. But she's like, doesn't matter, I can get you to ovulate anyway. So I said, okay. So she did try to get me to ovulate, and we tried for months. And because I wasn't cycling, we weren't trying a new protocol every month with my cycle. It was like every week we were trying something different.
So that's all the shots, all the hormones,
So much different stuff. And when I say
money, everything.
yeah,
It consumes your entire everything.
It
Yeah.
yeah.
does.
And so it was like every time my body on my blood work would show that I was about to start ovulating, then it would like regress. And this really happened for months and we couldn't figure out why. And she's so intelligent and I know she really tried everything she could. And so at some point we took a break and she said, at this point, like you actually have shown with Carmela, by the way, everything was out of pocket. Our insurance at the time did not cover it because we did reciprocal IVF. I was not proven to be infertile. There was no reason for us in their eyes that we needed to do fertility treatments.
And
So
we didn't have $35,000
so we
laying
paid
around.
out of pocket.
And how we did that
Yeah, say
was
that quickly and then I'll go back.
real quick is I said, you know what? I don't want to take out a loan because I don't really want to pay interest on it. But
Right.
I do always get offers for interest-free credit cards if you open them. And I didn't have any money on credit cards. I wasn't like a credit card spender. And I said, I'm going to take out 2 lines of credit cards, no interest, and we'll figure out the payments. But at least I know I don't have interest for 18 months. And that's how I figured out to do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
On our first one, I was still
Mhm.
building my business, like,
Yeah.
it's, yeah. So that was just our thought.
Worked out. And I guess it worked out though.
Yeah.
So then this
Those
time
cards are paid off.
I hope so. I had a different job at this time. And so because at this point I was shown to be infertile, um and my doctor said, actually, your insurance would approve IVF now. Like, let's just go forward with IVF. The success rate is much higher, and we can ovulate anyway, and blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, fine, fine. I actually felt more comfortable with that idea because the idea of Iowa, because everything worked so well the first time, we knew that we had a genetically tested embryo. She was going in, my body was perfectly prepped. Like it made us feel more comfortable. So we were sort of relieved.
Mhm.
Then I did, but this was like after over months and months
Yeah,
and
like
months,
6 to 8
almost a
months
year.
now.
I think it was like 8 months, but again, it wasn't every once a month. It was every week. We were trying something new.
Right.
I was already drained at this point. Then we did a retrieval, and all my embryos, after we went through all those steps, came back abnormal. And I was so disappointed.
Mhm.
And at that point, I was like, I don't have it in me to do this again. Like, we have another embryo that Lisa made when she made Carmela. Let's just transfer that. And she gave me a lot of pushback at first because, well, she couldn't understand my point of view. For me, I was like, I carried Carmela. I don't feel any, I still don't ever, I've never had the feeling where I'm like, they're not my,
Right. Even if you didn't carry it
they're not
too,
my
still,
genes.
yeah.
I've never felt that, not one day, not one moment. I birthed them, I nursed them, I parent them. Even if I was to adopt a kid, I'm sure I would feel the same way. They're my babies, right? So she couldn't, she didn't want me to regret, I
I
think.
didn't want to take that. I didn't know if like that I would be taking something from her if
Right.
I was just like, yeah, just do my embryos. I wanted to like really make sure I didn't, that was important to me. Like, you know,
Actually, initially, she said, I'm only going to agree to let you transfer this embryo if you promise me in the future you'll do IVF again. And I honestly, I knew I wasn't ever going to want to do it again, but I said,
yeah.
okay, fine, let's just transfer the embryo.
She didn't care, I guess.
Because
Yeah.
I
And then
didn't
I
care. Like,
finally
I think her
heard
thing was
her.
like, don't you want to ever look at a kid and see like they have my eyes? And I was like, not really. Like, that doesn't really matter to me.
Because
Yeah.
I also
Me,
had that
for
experience on the
me.
other side because Carmela was, so I wanted to
Yeah.
understand her experience. I wanted to truly understand her perspective.
I understand why you felt that way.
And then I said, okay, I hear your truth. Okay.
So
Okay.
then we transferred that embryo.
Right.
That was the miscarriage, that one, or was it a failed transfer
That was a
first?
failed transfer. And then I did IVF again.
Right, that was a failed transfer. So then she had to do IVF again because we had no more embryos. So
Right.
once again, she said, "Are you sure I'm going to do another round of IVF then?" And I said, "No, I'm really not ready. I'm really mad at my body because it's so disappointing when your body's not doing what you want it to do."
Yeah.
And she did another round of IVF. She made two more embryos,
Transferred the one, and that was,
another boy and a girl that ended up being normal. We transferred the boy, and I ended up having a miscarriage at like 12 weeks.
yeah, and that was really hard
Which
because we
sucked.
weren't together because of COVID.
Oh my God.
She
And
was FaceTiming
this
me
was
and
during COVID.
we
Yeah,
were
it was
waiting to
horrible.
check the heartbeat. She was going to be
Horrible.
discharged and I'm on FaceTime and there was no heartbeat in the ultrasound room
Because
and
they
we
didn't
went
let
through
they didn't
that.
let your partner in with you into these rooms.
Insane.
And we went
So
through
it was
that
all alone.
together.
And she was home with the baby. So it's not like she was in the car because she was with our
She had to
daughter.
drive home by herself. Oh,
Oh my God. I don't want to
I
think
know,
anyone
I
talking
know,
about
I
it
know,
now.
I know, I
Yeah.
know.
So then
We went through that. We mourned
then I
that.
had
And
the
then,
DNC, blah, 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 whatever. Then I said, I still don't want to do another round of IVF,
but you
we
want a boy.
we wanted a boy. So
Right.
at that point, I think I mentioned to you earlier, at some point there was a time when she was prepping for another retrieval and I was prepping for a transfer. Normally you wouldn't do that, right? Because you don't want to prep for a transfer unless you know you have an embryo. But we knew that if she didn't
There
make
was no
any
boy,
normal
whatever.
embryos, we were just going to transfer the girl that we had. So
Right.
we both prepped again together, and then that the next round actually didn't work. It was just a failed transfer. And at that point, our doctor was like sort of surprised because
No, the first one's a failed transfer, and then there was a miscarriage,
and then
a
another
miscarriage.
failed transfer.
No, there was?
In October.
Wow. You see what happens is after all of this. Oh
It all
my
blends together,
God.
right?
Yeah, it all mixes together. I only remember that we both have horrible memories, honestly. But the only reason why I remember this is because our doctor was so surprised that it didn't work, right? Because I have no issues at all. No fertility struggles. I have nothing diagnosed that's a fertility problem. I should not have really miscarried a completely normal embryo that was, genetically tested. And I shouldn't have had two, or was it even three? No, it must have just been the two failed transfers of normal embryos when I have nothing else going on. So she ended up sending me to a hematologist. And so they suspected a blood clotting disorder. And so at that point, when we prepared for another transfer, they put me on Lovenox, which is like an injectable blood thinner. And so I was on that starting after that next transfer, which is what gave us our son, Francesco. And so this
Nice.
pregnancy, thank God.
That journey really takes away a lot of your innocence.
Yeah, so you know what? Because it was such a hard, difficult time getting pregnant, the whole pregnancy, I had a lot of anxiety, to be honest with you, because I went into it so like worked up and it was so hard to get there. And then once I was there, and your hormones and they just play with your emotions.
Everything, your
And I had a lot of like physical anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was just like emotionally a difficult pregnancy. Physically, it was fine. Emotionally, it was really tough. But he was like still is the most amazing baby.
He's supposed to
nursed
be, he's supposed to
beautifully.
be
Yeah,
here.
he
He's
thank,
supposed to
oh
be
my God,
here.
thank God for him every day. It was like that whole journey was, I'm gonna cry. I'm so emotional.
You're also carrying twins, so
Right.
you
But he
got
was
those
really
hormones
yeah,
again.
that whole journey is just, was worth it because he's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
journey.
this transfer, we are so lucky again because I think I think your mindset is so important when you're going into this.
Yeah.
And this time in my head, I'm speaking for me, not you, because I think you felt the same way, but I'll just say for me, I felt like we knew what the problem was. I knew that I needed to be on a blood thinner.
Right.
I knew that we had a normal embryo,
Mhm.
and there's no reason why this shouldn't work.
Right.
So I went into it with this expectation of, oh, I know what the issue was. It was the blood thinner. I'm on it now. I'm going to be on it again. It's definitely going to work. And guess what? It did.
Yeah, you
It
train
worked so
yourself.
good that we ended up with identical twins.
You train yourself. I was so certain too. It was almost like a memory. I trained myself so much to
Yeah.
think like, this is it. It's done. It really
Yeah.
became a memory that like the transfer was successful.
Yeah, and I did a lot of like visualizing and meditation.
Yeah, we're very big into
surrounding,
law of attraction,
yeah,
visualization.
surrounding like a successful transfer and like all this stuff.
So did you visualize multiples, or was that just like
No, but
listen to this.
she thinks I
Actually,
manifested it. I think I just knew
because
it. But by the way, it's like a 2% chance that it would split.
and
Right.
he did manifest
Right.
this.
So I went in.
I'm not mad, but
Okay, so
I'm
for
happy.
people that-
but it was unexpected.
For people that don't know, well, first of all, we always said we were going to have like 4 kids. And if you look at our vision board from like 5 years ago, 6, maybe even 8 years ago,
One
before
of
we had
our
more,
30 vision boards.
it has a picture of back of heads of 3 little girls and 1 boy. We're going to find that as soon as we hang up with it.
I want a copy of that to use
I'm
in
gonna
the
go
reel
look
for this
it.
advert.
I swear I need to find it. And so
we were getting
I went to go get
scammed.
my HCG, my beta test. So with people that don't know, as soon as you go in for your blood work to see if you're pregnant or not pregnant, and then if you're pregnant, you go back in 2 days later to see if your numbers doubled. So when I went back in 2 days later after my positive test, I left before I got my results. I
Yeah.
just said like, oh my God, I wonder if it's twins. Like, this is so weird. Like, I wonder, I can't wait for them to call me. They usually call you like 5 hours later. I can't wait for them to call me. I wonder if my numbers are going to be like outrageously high. And so I had this feeling so much so that I started looking on
So
YouTube
she's YouTube
and watching videos of like, how do you know you're pregnant with twins before you know you're pregnant with twins? What is your beta? What is your normal numbers if you're pregnant with twins? Blah, all these different things. And then they called me. My numbers were like, they were good and strong, but nothing like super outrageous.
Okay.
But I still was thinking about it for like 2 or 3 days. Then you don't go back in for your first scan for like another, week and a half, maybe
Mhm.
from that point. When we go back in to do it, actually one of the assistants that was with the physician's assistant doing the ultrasound actually is one of our babysitters. We've known her for like 6 years. So she's in the room and everybody knows that she knows our family really well. And so the PA is doing the ultrasound and
internal.
she looks at Eddie. She
looks
first of all, I was really anxious about checking just because of my past experiences
Sure.
and I'm traumatized from that room. So I was so nervous. I was like about to have a panic attack. I mean, I really couldn't breathe.
Then we saw the
I put the
heartbeat.
thing in. She's like, take a deep breath. It's right there. It's fine. Everything is okay.
Good,
I'm like, okay,
this is
good.
great.
I start crying.
Her
I'm like,
legs up on the stirrup. She still has the wand in.
then she,
just,
the physician's assistant looks at Eddie, the girl babysitter, and she's like,
and I see her look like concerned.
do you see what I see? We're like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? And she's like, no, everything's okay. Eddie, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And
I'm
Eddie
like,
looks and
"What's
she's
going
like,
on?"
oh my God.
I'm like,
we're like, what is
We're like-
going on?
we couldn't make any accidents. I mean, we're two
We're so-
women. You can't have like a.
No, we were like, I don't know, is it like an atopic? Like
Is
what's going on? Like I thought it was
something
something bad, but within
Yeah.
they gave us the answer within a split second, but a million thoughts go through your head. And she's
Million.
like, well, there's one sack and there's the other.
Jaimee starts screaming
I'm like, I knew it.
with the
You're right,
with
the
wand
legs
in
are
her-
up, the wand is at me.
She's like, I've been YouTubing. Look, I was
Because I didn't
teasing.
tell her that I had this feeling.
And
You
I'm
know, she
like,
didn't know that I had these thoughts. So
I had a heart
I just want
attack.
her to
I'm like, we're
believe me.
never
I'm
gonna
like, "Good,
sleep
you're never
again.
gonna believe this."
We're never gonna sleep again. We're gonna put
She
out
went
a
down
lot
a
of
rabbit
college
hole.
tuitions. I started going down a rabbit hole.
Well, also like in the beginning of our fertility journey, our doctor made it seem like it was so dangerous
And I
to have
worried about her
multiple.
safety. I worry about her.
Sure,
No, her
sure.
first feelings were like, "Oh my God, you're gonna die! Like, what is
I
happening?
was
You can't have
scared.
twins.
I
This is
was,
dangerous." Dr. Ryan
truthfully.
says this is so dangerous, but they just tell you all that stuff in the beginning of why they don't want you to transfer two embryos when you have
Right.
no real reason to transfer more than one. Sometimes
Right.
people have reasons, but if you don't, there's no need to. Yeah.
So
And
I
how
was
old was Francesco when you conceived the twins?
2.5.
Why was that such a hard question?
Oh,
I
because
didn't mean to make it a hard
I'm like,
question.
wait, I'm only a few months pregnant. This should not be that hard. So he'll be 3 in August and I'm 16 weeks. So like 2.5.
two and a
Oh,
half.
okay. Yeah. Okay. So, because that's one of the big things when you've had a previous cesarean birth, they often want you to wait a couple of years, 18
Oh
months
yeah,
to
yeah,
2 years before you conceive the next pregnancy. And with the multiples, then it's that much more for your body to navigate. So, but you've checked all the boxes to have your body be as healthy and ready for this pregnancy as you possibly can. So,
yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so scared, like her third C-section, two babies, you can't help but get a little nervous.
And
So
my doctors had me be very cautious the first trimester, which is very hard for me. I like to weight train, I like to run, I like to like do everything. And so I had to like really modify a lot of what I was doing. By the time I got to my second trimester and I went to like my 12-week appointment, I met with the MFM specialist doctor, because that's how it works with our doctor. Instead of seeing a specialist, you kind of just consult the specialist. And he's
yeah.
like, "You're good to do everything."
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. Perfect. So of course I'm still being careful and
Yeah.
mindful always. I'm pregnant, right? I'm not like acting like I don't have two babies in me.
Yeah.
And I definitely already feel the difference, like that I'm carrying to compared to I think what I felt. I feel like a lot more pelvic floor pressure. I feel just I'm growing a lot faster. It's also my third pregnancy, so everything's
Right.
happening quicker. My boobs got bigger faster, my belly got bigger faster. Like everything is just
Skin is itchy.
skin is itchy, my dry, everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's-
watch that hydration, right? That hydration is really
yeah,
important for itchy skin. Are you
yeah.
seeing a pelvic health physiotherapist?
No, but I will add that to my list since all
There
the
you
things
go.
you're telling me that I need to do it, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
if you're feeling your pelvic floor is heavy, then
Yeah.
get on it while you're still early in the process.
I actually did because like I mentioned, I talked to you a little bit before we started filming that I am nervous about like my body ripping apart. And I did think to myself, I should really start seeing like a pelvic floor
Yeah, let's
therapist
get all
and
these things.
doing
Okay.
PT and just trying to be proactive.
Yep.
So you're
Absolutely.
right. Thanks for the reminder. I do want to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about you had been deemed to be categorically infertile in terms of insurance. When you went to do another egg retrieval, were you out of pocket for the egg retrieval because you, Lisa, are not considered to be infertile?
This is a great question. And I feel like the first time you did it,
Mm-hmm.
I think you had to pay, and I don't know how they
Our,
justified it,
Hmm.
but at some
yeah,
point,
our
the
clinic
second
went
and
above
or
and
third,
beyond to
and they
work.
didn't do anything wrong because I had
Right.
these were all real issues, but for
Sure.
whatever they were able to prove why my eggs weren't working,
I had to sign papers that I was an egg donor to you. I remember that.
it did
Which
cover a good portion of it
Right.
yes. The transfer we paid out of pocket.
this round.
Yeah, it was $4,000 for the
Just for
transfer.
the frozen embryo transfer this round, yeah.
Yeah.
So, out of pocket, do you have a ballpark idea of how much you've had to pay to create a family of with 4 children
With everything
all together?
for all of them,
60, 50,
probably
50.
50 or 55.
Yeah, about 50 to 60,000
Carmela was like
probably.
35.
And you consider all the medication
Sperm,
too, all the
medication.
visits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you just go through it and you don't realize everything that
Don't
adds
forget
up.
about the hospital visits after you give birth.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And it's, I mean, one of the things that someone once said to me was when you don't necessarily have $100,000 to plunk down and say, let's put this towards having a child, and instead it dribbles in. once you get on the path, you're like, okay, well, let it keep dribbling because now I'm down the road. I'm not stopping now just because I don't have the resources.
Like the
I'm
genetic testing,
yeah,
I remember
exactly.
being like, another 1,500, 2 grand, but what are we going to do? We have to do it now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
all of that does add up for
sure,
sure. Yeah.
sure.
But I still wouldn't change any of it because you just figure it out. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
I grew up with a single mother. We didn't have anything, to be honest with you. Jaimee grew up with not much. I wouldn't say like you were,
Well,
you were like,
I mean, I had a regular childhood.
yeah,
yeah,
but your parents weren't floating in money,
No.
like
Well,
you
that's
started
fine.
working at 15,
Yeah.
yeah,
The point is we didn't grow up with things handed to us easily.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good thing.
Um,
yeah,
and my mom raised the three of us really great. You too. And that's why I think I kind of was like, I don't know if there'll ever be a right time financially to have kids because you're kind of just, I know I'm a hard worker. I know I'm a go-getter. Her too. We're going to figure it out. When in
yeah,
doubt, we're going to figure it out. And that's it. As long as we know we're going to figure things out, so that was important to at least keep in my head, to at least take that plunge,
yeah.
take that step, you know.
Perfect. No, it's true. It's so true. And you committed to it, and now look what you've got.
I
We're
know.
so blessed. We really feel so lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you are, and you are. Are there things that you wish that you knew ahead of time to be able to better plan for, other than perhaps the financial piece of it, or do you feel like you had things happen in such a way that it gave you the opportunity to navigate it without feeling overwhelmed as things came up?
I wish that we knew how much it was going to be on a relationship.
Hmm.
People say it's the same as, very similar to a straight couple. However, I slightly disagree with that and heavily disagree with that, honestly, because I know what my hormones are once a month. I know how I feel anxiety wise, mentally when I'm PMSing. I know. And that
And
was
then, and
very hard to
yeah,
navigate with
yeah.
all of the hormones, wanting to be heard, wanting to have your feelings justified, with the both of us, and then just two women. I wish somebody would have said, hey, be ready for a relationship ride because it is going to be a lot of work. You guys have to kind of just prep for that. We didn't know. I had no idea
And
how
even though we went,
tricky that would
even
be.
though we went through all of that during Carmela's pregnancy and postpartum, even with Francesca, and then you learn how to ride the wave, right? And you get through. I
Right.
think it's stressful, right? To people's point, any new parent is a stressful time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's also
100%. Yes.
but we also had like the two mom dynamic. Like I'd be like, no, I know what's right for the baby. No, she'd be like, no, I know what's right for the
Oh,
baby.
yes. And
Silly
we
things,
had
how to
that.
change the diaper,
Yes.
how to whatever.
Yes.
But then
Who's
believe
stepping in to do what?
during
Yeah. Sorry.
believe it or not, during Francesco's pregnancy, even though we learned so much from the first time around, we still struggled with a lot of similar issues. And we did see a perinatal, started seeing a perinatal therapist. I told you I had a lot of anxiety, like physical anxiety, but then we also started seeing her together because it is a
Yeah.
lot to process when you're
And then you're a new
parenting a
parent.
toddler
Yeah.
and you're going through again hormones and I'm pregnant and we're dealing with it. Like, and it was just a really nice outlet. And then we saw her for a little bit postpartum too, with all the new changes just to help us navigate being a parent of two and sharing responsibilities. I had a lot of like issues with like, and I thought about this when you said before, like if you're nursing two kids and I don't remember when we spoke about this,
Yeah.
but you like figure out when to hang out with your other kids when you're done
Right.
feeding the babies or taking
Mhm.
care of them. And I thought about this, like when I would be done nursing him, I'd be like, well, now I need to clean the house. Everything needs to be perfect, everything. And so like she helped me deal with a lot of that stuff because
Mhm.
I really struggled with like needing to be able to do it all.
Right.
And you can't do that when you just had a C-section and you're taking care of a baby. And it was really hard for me. And I know I'll struggle with that again. I know
But
that.
I'm here. I'm a full-time cleaner too.
Yeah, but
I'm in
like just
it,
say that,
but
crazy.
she just
But
wants
your
to.
hormones also make you do crazy things. Like you just
You do.
Yeah.
prioritize things the wrong way. And like it would drive me nuts if there was like crumbs on the floor or the table. And I'm like, I need it to all be clean all the time. I have this baby. I want this to be perfect. And it's hard. You figure it
Yeah.
out then.
Yep.
But to your point, like, what did we wish we learned? Like, it's okay to ask for help,
It's
whether it's
okay.
from
Yeah.
a therapist or family or whatever. Like, it is okay to ask for help. And I wish I would have saw that therapist sooner.
Hmm.
Right.
Even now, I'm like, oh, I'm at the point in my pregnancy where I could probably start doing that again. Like, it's okay to ask for like some help to help you navigate your feelings and your emotions
I think
and
it's good
everything
to
you're
ask
dealing
for
with.
help. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
good to ask for help.
And the other side of it is that the people that you know that you're asking for help want to be asked for help. They
Right.
want to help you. But what I want you to make a mantra for yourself, Jaimee, is this reminder that cesarean births are major surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
Heart surgeries are often less invasive than a
Oh,
cesarean section.
I didn't know that.
Right. So
And
give your
is
body
twin-
time and grace.
is a twin cesarean even more invasive, or is it basically the same sort of thing?
It's basically the same sort of thing in terms of the physical surgery part
Yeah,
of it.
that's what I meant.
But yes, so you need the time to recover. And so instead of feeling like you need to do it all, and you'll talk to your therapist about this because I know you will, but talk to them. Think about rather the people who have asked you what you need and how they can help. And remember that just as you say that to other people, oh, what do you need? How can I help? And you mean that. You
Yeah,
truly mean that from the bottom of your soul. If you need something, reach out. So do they. And they
right,
want to help. They want to know that they did something to help make life easier for your beautiful family.
right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And that's the end of my therapy session for
I
today.
love this. This is amazing. No, you're
Yeah,
really
yeah, you are
amazing. Everything that
amazing. You really are. You're an amazing person.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank both of you so much for taking the time to chat with me today and telling me and all of my listeners about your gorgeous, sweet wee family.
Mhm.
And I can't wait for the world to hear the wisdom that you have to share.
Oh, thank
The
you.
journey.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so much,
much.
Sam. We appreciate it.
As a queer individual with colonial lineage, I want to first acknowledge the land upon which I live and work. Being from what is now known as Burlington, Ontario, I recognize the original ancestry of these lands as they span from Lake Ontario to the Niagara Escarpment and beyond. These lands are steeped in Indigenous history that benefits my community every day. The territory is mutually covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy, the Ojibwe, and other allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. I would like to acknowledge that the land on which I stand is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. The land dictates everything about our ways of being. Particularly, the land teaches us about fluidity. Concepts of the binary system and heteropatriarchy were imposed by the colonials who were, at the same time, removing children from their homes, families, and all that was familiar to them. These same children were divided by the only two prescribed binaries recognized by the settlers, and they were forced to conform to a performative, gendered falsehood. The land doesn't operate under binary thinking. It is diverse, complex, and unpredictable at times. Rather, the land holds us and all of our remarkable paths and identities. Every organism and spirit has a purpose. It is from this understanding that I strive to live and grow. Thank you for joining me today on the Becoming Baby Ready podcast. If you have a story that you'd like to share, or you know someone who might, if you're a professional who works in the capacity of helping people start and grow their families, and you identify as being a part of the 2S LGBTQIA plus community yourself, then please don't hesitate to reach out. We always have room for more stories to share, and there's always more learning to do.